Hello, I hope you're well. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a book haul. So I noticed that kind of leading up to and around the 1-year anniversary of the pandemic and life as we know it changing dramatically, that I was doing quite a bit of online shopping, and I honestly think it was a type of like retail therapy and a mood booster for me, because the things that I did end up buying, clothing, skincare, books, are all things that make me happy. So I wanted to talk to you about some of the books that I've bought in the last couple of months. I think the last haul that I did would have been my birthday and Christmas one in early January. So these are basically the books that I have ordered since then. Full disclosure, it's not everything that I've ordered since then, but I selected the books that haven't been featured in my wrap-ups or in vlogs as of yet, because I thought those would be of most interest to you. So why don't we dive right in? So the first book that I want to talk about is Libertie by Kaitlyn Greenidge, which I think has probably appeared on my channel a few times already, because it was definitely one of my most anticipated releases for Q1. And I have seen this book kind of blow up everywhere. It's been all over Bookstagram, it was in the New York Times, it's definitely been on the sort of bookish websites that I peruse on the regular. So I am very excited about this book. I pre-ordered it when I think it released in mid to late March, and it finally arrived, and I am looking forward to sinking my teeth into it. It is a historical fiction, and the main character, Libertie, is a free-born black woman living in the Reconstruction era, but she's living in the North, and her mother wants her to follow in her footsteps and go into practicing medicine and work beside her. Well, Libertie seems to have other ideas and ends up agreeing to marry this Haitian man and moving to Haiti, and life isn't all that it's cracked up to be once she's on the island. So it is very much a coming-of-age story that I'm looking forward to. It's also during a time period that I haven't read a ton about, and I can't honestly think of any books that I have read in this particular setting in Haiti during this time period, so it feels unique and fresh in this way, and I am, as I've said, looking forward to reading it. The next book is Women and Other Monsters by Jess Zimmerman, which is a nonfiction title, and I discovered this one accidentally. I was just on the Books Are Magic website and was kind of looking at the upcoming author event and saw the event for this book and decided I had to attend, and I did, and this is a signed copy that you got for buying like the ticket. You can attend their events for free, and if you've never gone to one of their author events, I highly recommend them. This is the second or third one that I've done recently, and they're just a treat. This book really called to me because it is looking at the female monsters in Greek mythology and kind of exploring the feminist side of things, like how their monstrousness and their like appetites kind of can be reimagined in and reinterpreted in this feminist light. It also vaguely reminded me of a chapter in my senior thesis back from my uni days, where I was actually exploring gothic monsters and what the sort of disfigurement of the female body and the hypersexuality of the female body could mean. So although I didn't look into the Greek mythology angle, there's similarities there, and I am definitely interested. The next book is A Tip for the Hangman by Allison Epstein, which was also in my most anticipated releases video. And it's a historical fiction, but I saw it classified more as a historical thriller. So the main character is Christopher Marlowe, the playwright, and he is tapped somehow by Queen Elizabeth I's like spy master and kind of gets sucked into this world of espionage and intrigue within the sort of Elizabethan setting, and his mission, which he seems to take on, is to help them to be alerted to any plans that Mary Queen of Scots, who I believe is imprisoned by the time this book takes place, might be planning to overthrow Elizabeth and take the throne of England for herself. So he's supposed to, like, prevent that from happening. And it's been a while, honestly, since I've read much in this particular time period, but I am noticing recently this trend to kind of start to reintroduce it to my reading diet. So I'm looking forward to this. It's a little bit different for me. I don't usually go for thrillers in general, but I think the historical setting, the characters like Elizabeth I, Christopher Marlowe, Mary Queen of Scots might help me enjoy this a little bit more than I would a traditional thriller. The next book is A Lady's Formula for Love by Elizabeth Everett, and in the last year I've really been trying to explore the romance genre a little bit more. It was a genre that I unfairly kind of poo-pooed. Like, I liked romance in my books, but not as necessarily the driving force. However, in the last year, I have read a few contemporary romances and also historical romances that I have really enjoyed. So I wanted to give another author a go, and this book, A Lady's Formula for Love, kind of reminded me of the Evie Dunmore books that I have really come to love. I've read 2 of them in the last year, and so this seemed like a safe kind of selection. It's set during the Victorian era, like the Evie Dunmore books, and the main character is this female scientist, and she's basically formed this secret society of other female scientists in England at the time, and she's on some sort of mission for the crown, and the love interest seems to be like her protection officer or someone of that sort. Like the Evie Dunmore books, this seems to have some sort of feminist angle to it, which just is appealing to me in general. So, like I said, I figured I would give it a whirl. I haven't really heard much about this book yet, but it seems cute. I feel like it could be cute. So, yeah, there you go. Next up is The Rebel Nun by Marj Charlier, I believe. Maybe? This is such a clickbaity title to me. Is it just me? I mean, something about a rebel nun just like piqued my interest. I think part of that is because I might be one of the few individuals who has very fond memories of the nuns that taught her in school. Like, they were basically akin to being the, like, fairy godmothers in Sleeping Beauty. Who is it? Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather? You know the ones. But they were just sweet. I helped them design the costumes for the plays. I convinced them to buy a DVD player. I would go and hang out in their office and they would tell me all about their lives and childhood, and it was just a fun time. So there's no bad feelings when it comes to nuns, but a rebel nun? Interesting. So apparently this is based on a true story. The main character is a nun living in the Middle Ages who actually leads a rebellion of other nuns against the misogyny and patriarchy of the early church. And I don't know what part of that needs to be explained further because it sounds amazing, and I'm just hooked. I need to read this ASAP. I haven't seen it anywhere else, but it just seems like it's gonna be such a fun story, and again, that feminism angle, I just buy into it hook, line, and sinker every single time. And Rebel Nun, like, how can you go wrong there, to be honest? I don't think you can. The next book I feel like is a bit of a dark horse. Like, it's not something I would normally pick up for myself, but it's The Witches of New York by Amy McKay, and I know like a year, maybe two ago, I was literally buying all of the books that had witches and witchcraft in the title, and I was like not doing well with those books. I don't think I ended up reading any of them. I think I unhauled them in one of my big unhauls last year. I'm hoping, honestly, that I do better with this one, but I think I might, because there are things about this that are really appealing to me. So first of all, I think the New York setting is going to make me nostalgic for New York City, since I have not been able to really visit it in a year, and that's where I worked 5 days a week before all of this happened, so there's definitely a nostalgia element there. But I think the fact that this is also set in the late 19th century might be a draw. But I was also drawn into this by kind of the tagline. So apparently this shop posts an ad that reads, "Respectable lady seeks dependable shop girl. Those averse to magic need not apply." And so the main character answers the ad and I guess learns a bit of magic from two other women, potentially. I really don't know more than that, but I am fascinated. And again, I feel like this is one of those books that it's more of a like fluffy, fun read than anything else, which we all need from time to time. Like, I can't always read like hard-hitting, historically accurate sort of like historical fiction tomes, as much as I love them. Every once in a while you just need a palate cleanse, so hopefully that's what this is for me. The next book is Moon Tiger by Penelope Lively. So it is, I guess, a modern classic. I had never heard of it before, but when I say modern classic, it was written like in the 1980s. It was actually a Man Booker Prize winner at the time, but the main character is this best-selling author who is lying in a hospital bed and decides to recount her personal history and all of the like intriguing characters that have impacted her life, including this military man that she met in Egypt during World War II that's kind of classed as her greatest love. And this book also, because of that angle, vaguely reminded me of The English Patient by Michael Ondaatje, which is one of my favorite books of all time and has a similar type of setting. It's fairly short, so I am hoping to get around to it very soon. I also saw that the author has several other books, so if I like this one, then I would want to explore the other books in her backlist. But yeah, I mean, Man Booker, I'm assuming that the writing is going to be flawless and enjoyable, but we shall see. The next book is You Don't Belong Here by Elizabeth Becker. This was one of my failed attempts to win a Goodreads giveaway. That's how I discovered the book, and I didn't win it, but the book sounded absolutely top-notch to me, like so up my alley. It is about these three journalists. I believe they're from 3 different countries. I think it's France, Australia, and the US, and they're all reporting on the Vietnam War, but they have to deal with sort of all the misogyny and the preconceived notions about what women are good at when it comes to the military and war, because at the time women were not considered fit to be foreign correspondents, let alone war correspondents. So I'm really interested about this. I've also read next to nothing nonfiction about the Vietnam War. I've watched far more documentaries on it, so this will be a foray into another era for me. But it reminds me a little bit of Ernest Hemingway's wife, whose first name is completely slipping me at the moment, but her last name is Gellhorn, and she was also a war correspondent, I think, for World War II and also maybe even the Spanish Civil War. So there's something about this angle for the Vietnam War that also interests me. And yeah, it just, if you know my channel, this is the sort of nonfiction that I go for without question. This is another book that kind of just hopped into my online shopping cart of its own volition, and I have no regrets with this one either. And lastly, we have Hag, Forgotten Folktales Retold. And I discovered this actually on Instagram. So there's this account that I've been following for years. Her name is Alexandra, and I'll put her handle on the screen somewhere here. But first of all, she takes stunning photography, but she also has such eclectic tastes in film and books and makes such wonderful recommendations. She takes all this time to create these IG stories for each of the books and each of the films she reads and kind of tells you why she enjoys them. And I have found some gems from her IG stories, and this was one of them that really spoke to me. The cover was just colorful and poppy and interesting, but what I really liked about it was that this is a collection of folk tales from kind of the UK and Ireland that have been retold and reimagined by these female authors. And once again, this is a book that I believe has sort of a feminist leaning in the retellings, which also is very appealing to me. Part of me really wants to jump into this book like ASAP Rocky, but the other part of me also wants to kind of hold on to this until October, because I do feel like some of these folk tales are going to be dark and creepy, and that just screams like Halloween vibes to me. So I don't know when I'll get around to this, but I am fascinated. So yeah, those are the most recent book purchases of mine. It goes without saying, but I'm gonna say it anyway, that I am very much looking forward to reading each and every one of these books, and you will obviously see them in vlogs and in wrap-ups in the future. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you added some books to your TBR, and if you did, please be sure to let me know which ones. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!